And the Joey Jones Show continues from Mugshots Grill and Bar on Airport Boulevard. Special thanks to Bailey's TV as well for providing that TV right behind us today. All right, so Tulane in the Superdome today. We just talked about their offense a little while ago. Let's talk about their defense. The thing that stands out to me when they played Jackson State last week, they forced 6 turnovers. I mean, that's huge.
They did. They're much bigger inside than they have been last year. They had some 330-pounders. They look like big old blocks of granite in there at times. And they're a little smaller at linebacker, but really, really fast. And so, you worry about that with the speed factor. They're a much better defense than they were last year. And
only gave up 112 yards rushing. Do you see anything that they're trying to key on, or is it just that's the way that game played out?
I think they're playing what I call a kind of I don't want to say bend but don't break defense. But last year they were a lot of man coverage and giving up big plays a lot. This year they've backed off and played a little more zone coverage, keep everything in front of them. I think that's the philosophy they take. And they can play man coverage as well and do it when they want to. But bottom line is I think that they're backing guys off, keeping everything in front of them, trying to make you earn things.
And Jackson State rolled up a bunch of pass yards on them. But again, I don't know if that was a function, too, of Jackson State fell behind early and they had to pass every down.
Well, a little bit of both. Well, they were stopping the run, probably made them throw it. And that's probably the biggest thing.
Well, the guy that's going to have to face that Tulane defense is offensive coordinator Robert Matthews, joining us here on the Joey Jones Show. Coach, appreciate the time.
No problem.
You've seen the Tulane tape as well. What do you see that you're going to have to face today?
I think the similar things that Coach said. They're very big inside. Their 2 inside tackles are pure run stoppers. Very, very large, 330 pounds. Very athletic in the secondary. Their corners and safeties run, and the linebackers run well. So I think. I think they're much improved over the tape that you saw from last year, and obviously they're playing with some confidence after a good game versus Jackson State.
Well, that's the thing. We talked about it earlier in the show that this is a 2-win team last year. They're very different, and that's not a coach speak kind of thing. They're a much improved team, aren't they?
They are. With personnel, they're faster on the defensive front. They're bigger on the defensive front. And, and anytime you beat a team 34-7, you're going to feel good going into week 2.
All right. So for us offensively, grade us from what you saw Thursday night against Southern Utah.
I think the biggest thing is, for the most part, we took care of the football really well. Quarterbacks had good ball security, running backs had good ball security, receivers had good ball security, after the catch, and that's something that we stress and that we'll continue to stress. The biggest way to lose, or the fastest way to lose a football game is to give them a short field and turn the ball over. So that's one thing that we've been working on and we'll continue to stress. At times our tempo was good. We were able to play pretty quick. Even on the first drive, we moved it down pretty good, and then got backed up and had to punt after that 3rd down, but started the game pretty fast and throwing and catching and running, and those are things that we want to continue to do.
Have you been asked about the quarterback rotation system yet?
Have we?
But no, I mean, tell us the philosophy behind that, and is that going to continue?
I think right now we feel like we have 2 guys that can play the position, and 2 guys that we feel like we can score points with and that we can move the football with. So, anytime you have that situation, I think you got to look at what both of them bring to the table and continue to use their skill sets in that manner.
Yeah, both of them bring something very positive. When we saw that Thursday night, didn't we?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Ross did a good job managing the offense, and and people think that Ross can't run, but Ross pulled him down and scrambled for 10 yards. He is not a slow quarterback. Obviously, Brandon had a big run, but Ross can do the same thing as well.
Right, and then they say Brandon can't throw. You saw the pass that went downfield that we didn't catch it in the end, but he's got a gun as well.
He sure does. He's got a live arm. Really he's done a good job in the offseason. He's worked and worked on his footwork, and his mechanics are so much better than they were from a year ago.
All right, when it comes to the offensive game plan, I know obviously as a former wide receiver, what's your role when you come up with this offensive game plan with Coach Matthews here?
Well, right now I don't say I'm out of it, but I'm going to meetings and I'll throw in my 2 cents worth every once in a while, but I may have a few little additions here and there. But basically, the offensive staff's pretty much come up with the game plan. I'm having to lean a lot more towards special teams right now with Tommy Perry leaving, and so a lot of my efforts are going toward that.
A lot of new players on the field, Coach, especially at the skill positions. How are they making the transition, and what are some of the things they need to do to continue to be successful at this next level?
As you saw, we had a lot different wide receiving core out on the field. Some old guys out there with Lavin, Jeremy Jones, and T.J. Glover. The addition of Danny Woodson and Shavarius Smith, was certainly a highlight for us. I think they need to learn to play fast throughout the entire game. You know, something that we're continuing to stress in practice, and you know, having the ability and making sure you do it every play. You know, and looking for that consistency factor is what we really want as an offense.
Is it difficult to mesh those guys? I mean, guys like Woodson transferring in, a ton of talent, but is it difficult to mesh the new guys with the old guys, or is that something that happens naturally?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's really about their attitude, and Danny's come in with a good attitude. He likes the game of football. He knew some guys on the team before he transferred here, and so he's really meshed in pretty well.
And familiarity really breeds success, doesn't it? I mean, the more they play together, the better things are going to be.
Absolutely. You know, the more reps that the quarterbacks can get with those receivers, the more reps that, you know, they understand the offense as far as, you know, running the same plays over and over again and knowing what the adjustments to the routes are, how to run a certain route, they'll only continue to improve.
All right, so Tulane today in the Superdome. What do you need to see from your offense this afternoon?
You know, I think we got to come out with great effort and great tempo. You know, we have to be aggressive. We have to run the football, you know, which is what we need to do every week. And I think that our guys have had a good week of practice, and I think that, you know, we'll be ready to go.
And they got to be itching to get back on the field too, don't they? After what happened Thursday night.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to speak for them, but I certainly hope that's the case.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we appreciate all the work. Appreciate the time here.
Thank you very
all
much.
Right. Well, coming up, we'll take a look at the Sun Belt Conference in Week 1, and once again, a team from the Sun Belt Conference beat a team out of the SEC. We'll talk about that. Look ahead to other games today when the Joey Jones Show continues right here on UTV 44.